Everybody hates black men. I am your host, Edward Anderson. Let y'all get in here a little bit. I'm trying to think what I want to do. Finally got that. I got one video down. I got kind of one more to go. I'll be launching Nate's video in a few, probably after this, maybe like an hour after this. So stay tuned for that. And I wanted to go live on this really quick. Now, really, the title is really just to get people in here because people, it's something about this topic that they think people are gonna cry or whine, so they'll jump in on it. But I've always been fascinated, not really fascinated with this topic, but it's a topic that I don't jump on as much. But it definitely could warrant more conversation. Yeah, it's like storming out here. So get y'all in here while I'm out and about a little bit. Give it a couple of minutes and we'll jump right into it. Yeah, I watched that Marvel. Hold on a second. That shit was acting like it wasn't trying to start. Yeah, what's up, KJ? What's up, little Jack Horde, Ricky? Yeah, what's up, y'all? Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting topic. I'm actually gonna do a video on this. This was inspired by Dana Dane. She had a video she made earlier this month, and it's interesting because she's one of the main ones making videos talking about Chris Brown is a colorist, and I don't know why she ain't been really going hard at Chris Brown, but she's been like, I don't know why this is news that he's a colorist. He's been a colorist. And my thing is, maybe I'm confused. I just don't understand that. That sounds like an ugly girl argument to me. That's what that sounds like. What that sounds like is you got a bunch of chicks that are upset that they can't get them a Chris Brown, a light-skinned thuggo type, because there ain't a lot of those running around. So, they're in premium high demand. And because you can't get one of those, or y'all got Chris Brown is charging y'all $1,000 for a picture, which y'all really need to be lucky he's even willing to deal with press the flesh like that. Because a lot of artists ain't even willing. Number one, a lot of artists can't necessarily get $1,000 out of y'all, to be fair, and a lot of them don't want to play themselves. But to me, I've always thought that was goofy that black women were willing to do that. I always thought it was goofy black women willing to do that. I always thought that shaming black women, that you didn't see black women shame black women for doing that. Black women wanted to focus, people wanted to focus on the dudes breaking up over something like that. Which, let's make no mistake, even though it kind of would maybe be goofy on the other side, if a chick was saying $1,000 for a lap dance or two, y'all would be hella mad, and a lot of y'all would be breaking up with your dude over there, cheating on your dude or that, and using that as justification. So, women love to talk about double standards, but women get away with a lot more double standards, I think, than men do. I would love a game to be played of, let's see who can run out of the double standards that the other opposite gender gets away with. And I think women will be surprised at, we will probably wax them on, because just because we don't bring up double standards that women get away with, does not mean we are not aware of them. And some of the stuff, you just got to thug it out and charge it to the gang. And you often do. And this is one of those topics. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about this topic is because this is not a gender specific type of thing. Black people have their blind spots on this topic. Now, full disclosure, I'm 5'5", 38 years old. So whatever, anybody that's listening to this video, I'm gonna keep it real with you. There's really nothing I'm gonna say that's going to convince you that my opinions are not biased based on my height. You know, which is one of the reasons why I've always disclosed that on this channel, so people kind of understand, people have that information, because, you know, with my perspective. But there's nothing I'm gonna say that you're gonna be like, no, man, you ain't biased, because I know how black people are when it comes to this topic. So really, I would tell y'all straight up, you might as well not even listen, because you just gonna listen from a perspective of, I'm just saying that because I'm quote unquote short, and you might as well not even waste your time. Even though what I'm saying is not based on bias, because I've gotten chicks, I already know I can, so it's not, I'm past that. But I've said on this channel, and I mean that, and I've said this way before, I've said this from the beginning, black women can choose what they want to choose for whatever reason they want to choose it. The quote-unquote red pill or gender war has nothing to do with who black women's preferences are. It never was, it never has been. The problem has always been, first of all, a lot of the red pill stuff really had to do with black men paying child support. That was one of the original things, which is predicated on you got to get a woman pregnant if you're paying child support, right? So, but whatever, you know, people use the game stuff in order to try to counter our stuff and not actually articulate what they're talking about. But the thing is, the issue also with quote unquote red pill or the manosphere has always been counter propaganda. Women are constantly lying on men. And when you look at this Chris Brown situation, so for those of y'all don't know, Chris Brown did a lap dance with Kayla Nicole. I think he's done a lap dance with somebody else that's pretty famous. And I personally think he did Kayla Nicole a favor, keeping her in the media, you know, kind of, you know, showcasing that there is a black man that she is attracted to, aka Chris Brown. And I don't know where it came from. You know, black women have this love-hate relationship with Chris Brown, because a lot of these chicks are mad that Chris Brown is a representation of a man that they know they can never control, and they have to accept whatever he gives them if he chooses to entertain them. And that really creates a lot of insecurities with women in general, black women in particular, because of the matriarchal disposition the black community is in. And for that reason, there is this like, I don't like Chris Brown. Because let's be clear, a lot of these chicks will be feeling some type of way about Chris Brown, even without the Rihanna situation. The Rihanna situation just allows them, even though Rihanna let that go like early into that happening. Because Rihanna we will never know what started that, but Rihanna out of her own mouth, when she could have threw Chris under the bus, Rihanna out of her own mouth said that she started that. Now, do I agree that Chris Brown took it as far as he did? No, and I will never co-sign that, because he took that way too far and way too long. But at the same time, Rihanna's a violent chick, and the truth is, y'all never shame these women for taking pictures with Chris Brown, even though paying $1,000 on that basis. So women just use that as like a political weapon against Chris Brown. That's not really their real issue with Chris Brown. And what a lot of people don't talk about, what a lot of people also don't talk about is they don't talk about how again, Chris Brown is a representation of a guy that they can't control, and they don't like that. They don't. That's really that light-skinned thuggo type. We already know what it is. But anyway, my main point on the height thing, and the reason, oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You know, so Chris Brown ended up leaving social media, and by the way, Chris Brown is actually supposed to be here the 14th in October. And you know that you know in the NC State, the stadium NC State plays at, which is not too far, you know, from where I'm at. So that's gonna be interesting. But they don't care. They don't care about the violence. That's not the issue. So that's just a political weapon. So anyway, Chris Brown leaves social media temporarily because number one, he's got a tour, so he's got other stuff to be focused on. To be honest with you. Especially with all that trapeze flying across the stadium stuff he's doing. But he left social media because of that. Oh, that's what I was gonna say too. A lot of these chicks want Chris Brown to date Kayla Nicole, to kind of, you know, they want Chris Brown to help them, but they always clowning Chris Brown, even though Chris Brown has done a lot for black women. Chris Brown has done a lot for black women artists. But it's to the point, even when Chloe Bailey did a song with Chris Brown, which I actually need to check that song out to see what it's about. You know, they were clowning Chloe Bailey for even doing a song with him. This is why, like, Tyler never did a song with him, because women, you can't really predict how women are gonna react to Chris Brown, because it's all these insecurities there. Now, why do I bring up Chris Brown? That's kind of what is the new stuff with this. Now, he had a video with a chick. It really don't matter what her name is. I'll do the video and do a comparison in a separate video. But she's ironically out of North Carolina. But she said how she has a preference for tall men. What black female doesn't have a preference? The question really is, how strong is it? Is that a deal breaker? All black women want niggas that are 6 foot. 100%. There is nobody. A preference is not, well, you know, I like dark-skinned women, I like light-skinned women. No. All these chicks, it's like dudes saying, I want a stick figure. It's like height is like asking a man, men may want a chick that's built, they may prefer ass, they may prefer titties, but no black man wants a chick that's like built like Taylor Swift, that's flat as a board in the front and the back. No black man wants. That's kind of like what height is. That's kind of like what height is in the black community. This is why I always said that, you know, Zendaya, as long as Zendaya ain't really talking shit about black men, I would prefer Zendaya date out. Because the truth is, at her level, it ain't really any, like, she's a very attractive person, but like her body type, it's just not gonna work. She's gonna cheat. It's just gonna happen. And I'd rather her date out and be happy than deal with black men give her trauma, and then now she's got like an issue with black men, like, you know, somebody like Malika Andrews. I'm like, nah, we're not. Go ahead, just deal with that, and you good. And, you know, you get the pass. That's not the pass. So here we go. You know, anybody saying anything stupid, go ahead and just ban them. You get the pass. So here's my thing, because this is going to be a much more interesting conversation than you think it is. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this topic is not the typical, you know, black women want tall dudes, you shouldn't want tall dudes, or the typical bullshit. The reason why I wanted to talk about this topic right now is because this is one, I did a poll. Black people have a really bent view on how many people are like 6 foot. It really showcases how you view the world, where the perspectives are. Let's keep it real. Anybody that's like 5'10" or up, people perceive them as being 6 foot, as far as like women. And I know this is true because when women like me, they will literally say I'm taller than what I am. Like, it's like there's no way you actually believe that, like that kind of type shit. And the reality is, most females, like a female that's like 5'3" or 5, if you're 5'10", in their mind you're 6 foot, because that's what they'll say. That's what they'll say. They actually are walking around like the average height is 6 feet. They actually believe that. They actually believe that. And here's the thing, men believe that shit too. And the crazier part about it is, the taller the dudes are, it's almost like the more they think there's dudes that are as tall as them. Even though if you're 6 foot, you're not walking. If you're 6 foot, you're not walking. I know you're not walking through this shit, seeing a whole bunch of people that are 6 foot. And that colors the entire conversation around this, you know, to where, you know, people think like people that are under like 5'8" just don't exist. Like men that are under 5'8" don't exist. And this has always been fascinating to me, because it's like what I call a sexual eye test. So when you look at women, and women are sitting here talking about they're complaining about men. And you got to realize their complaints are men they are sexually attracted to. Women don't really have complaints about men that they're not sexually attracted to unless men they're not sexually attracted to are trying to holler at them. Then it becomes you're catcalling, you're stalking, it becomes all of that. But then, and this is where the video with Nate is going to come in, you have women that are below average in looks. But they expect to get above average in demand dudes. So that's how I'm gonna do it, because we don't obviously don't just looks. So dudes that are in high demand, somehow you think you're supposed to get access to them when you know you're below average in looks. And so what happens is, or you got women that if they are above average in looks, they want a perfect dude, and they end up finishing the race without a dude, aka getting a 40, 43 or something like that. It's crazy. So I'm all this is me setting the table. All this is me setting the table to a greater point. So when you hear these complaints that all these chicks are saying and all this stuff, this is based on their own. This is always anecdotal. It's always based on what they're dealing with, and all the stats and stuff that they look for is always predicated on validating what they want. This is why you never hear women saying, "I thought this, and the stats say this, so now I'm able to see stuff better," because no, they never do that, because they look for stats to validate their argument. This is why black women still to this day talking about black women are most educated when that's obvious, when that's not true. Like they are still misquoting a stat that spoke to really 1 year, which is essentially a snapshot, and they're still saying that. Like, they literally believe, like when I ask them, do you believe that black women are like the most intelligent women in the world or in the United States? Do you actually believe that? Do you believe the results and the actions that black women do on a day-to-day basis shows you that black women are the most intelligent women in the United States? Because that's some real arrogant, even for black men, that's some real arrogant shit to say. It really is, when you really think about it. So here's my point, and this is why I brought up Chris Brown. Chris Brown is labeled a colorist to black women. Now, if we really just don't dismiss it and really look at it, let's say the argument is people's argument is Chris Brown has a preference for light-skinned women. Black women's argument is Chris Brown is a colorist. So two things here. Number one, can you give me an example of a black man that prefers light-skinned women is not a colorist? Can you demonstrate to me that there's actually a difference? Because I've never, and honestly, if you engage with any female, black, Hispanic, or whatever, in this conversation, ask them that question. Can you give me an example of a celebrity that prefers light-skinned women that is not a colorist? Because if you can't, then the allegation that is proven is that if you like light-skinned women, if you prefer light-skinned women, you are a colorist. Meaning you cannot prefer light-skinned women and not be a colorist. Black women don't want to say that because it makes the ugly girl argument stronger. So they'll never say that definitively. But as far as I'm concerned, it's a distinction without a difference. It's a distinction without a difference. Right? And that's where the ugly girl argument comes from. Because on the flip side, you all stay saying, and a black chick actually made this point, you all stay saying that that light-skinned men are more feminine. You all stay saying that, which means you all actually believe in the colorism programming yourself. you'll hear more women sit there and try to promote the idea that, you know, that you'll see them advocate more for like dudes being more LGBT than you will hear them advocate all light-skinned dudes are not feminine. We need to kill that. I don't know why people believe that, even though that very much limits your dating options. Like, for the women that talk about they ain't got no dating options, they stay like cutting dating options out. So when you look at the statistics on height, this is why also black women have the allegations that they're sharing men, because only like 14, the average height is 5'9". That's the average. That does not mean, that is not the median. That's the average. It's the average. Then if you talk about 6 foot and up, that's great. What's up, everybody? Appreciate you. Appreciate it. Make sure y'all support the cat. I wanted to make sure I got my facts straight before I continue. So 6'4", 6 foot is 14%. 14% is like 1 out of every 7 people. Yeah, 14% is right under 1 of every 7 people. It's 6. Every 7 men is 6 foot or up. Through 4% is 6'2" and up. 6'2" and up is 4%. 3.9% to be exact. 3.93%. So that's a little, that's 1 in every, we'll say 19. It's really 5%. Technically 5% would be 20. So it's like 1 in every 21 dudes is 6'2" and up, right? 0.3%. 0.3% is 6'4" and up. And that's like 1 in every, that's like 1 in every, we'll say, to be simple, that's like 1 in every 400 men. That's 1 in every 400 men. Let me see if I want to get that straight. Hold on. All right. So they say it's like, so Google says scenario for 6'4" is 1 every 100. But really, it's probably like 1 in every 1,000. Because if you do 0.03 is like 1 in every 3,000. So literally 1 in every 1,000 men is what we're going to say, to keep it simple. It's 6'4" and up, which is why, you know, the NBA is only 450 people. Then when you add, you got to think about it. When you add in college and all the college schools, because all of them are pretty much 6 foot and up. Some of them are like, some of them are like 5'10". And see, the problem is, you know, even in me trying to talk about this, people are like, oh man, you're obsessed about height. It's like impossible to have an intellectual conversation about this, because people just get weirded out by it, and they don't know why. People literally can't sit and have it, right? And so my point is, you're looking at, for 6 foot, you're looking at, what did it say? 1 in 7 for 6 foot. For 6'2", you're down to 1 in every like 21 or 22 people. And then for 6'9", by the way, not 5'9" is average. You're in the average. So technically, average, and truth be told, Hispanics we bring in here is probably bringing the number down. And then you're talking about probably 1 in every 1,000 if you're talking about 6'4" and up. That's what you're dealing with. That's what you're dealing with. That's what the real numbers are. We're not accounting for sexual orientation. We're not accounting for money. We're not accounting for looks. We're not accounting for sexual ability. You know, sorry about that. Let me know if you all are back. All right. Let press 1 if you all are back. It's cloudy out here. So, like I said, so here's why I'm setting this table. So now we're about to come right into it. What inspired this video was Dana Dane was sitting here talking about what her preference is. And she was being real smug, talking about she liked tall guys. All these bitch, that ain't nothing new. Liking tall, like, oh, I like tall guys. I like tall guys. Like as if every black woman, like a black woman saying they like tall guys is like a black man saying they prefer attractive women. Like, that's not nothing special. Like, that's, to me, that's not, like, if you're making a preference argument, that's not even a good argument to make. A preference argument would be to say, okay, what is something that you prefer that's not typical, that's atypical? Not, no, I like tall guys. That's like a black man saying they like ass. They like, yeah, like, it's like black men saying, yeah, man, I prefer ass. But the truth, I prefer ass over titties. Atypical would be to say they prefer titties over ass. That's not that crazy, but like, that's a preference argument. If you say you like to, that, it's like, that's not even a well thought out thing. And you had one fool that sat there and made a comment, and then she decided to reply to the comment, basically making fun of a dude that was just leaving a comment. He didn't even make a video about it. My thing is this: what percentage of the pie chart, though? That's the issue. And the problem, here's why this is important. People are like, why is this important other than dudes crying about height? It's important because when you look at all the complaints where black women make, the reality is, if you care about height that bad, what are you willing to sacrifice for it? And a lot of these chicks, a lot of the shit they bitch about be the very red flags that they sacrifice for in order to have them a tall nigga. You can want what you want. That's fine. I'm not here to convince you not to. I'm not here to convince you. I'm not here to do none of that. But what I'm saying is, black men are guilty as hell about what black men do to black women when these women are sharing men because they share certain, these dudes, all these, that these women are not dating dudes that are under 6. That's bullshit. That's a lie. Because most of them can't even access niggas that tall. And there's other factors. And most of your rappers are, like, rappers are just now starting to be tall like that. T.I. wasn't that tall. Lil Wayne wasn't that tall. You know, it was a video where people were real shocked that Bobby Valentino was 5'3". 5'3". You know, Future and them, that's just now starting to be motherfuckers on it. So that's not about that. But my thing is, you all talk about what you're not gonna do and talk about standards. We already know if you can get access to something that you typically don't get access to, your standards don't mean nothing. Your standards don't mean shit. If you can get a tall nigga, you're going to let shit go that you otherwise wouldn't let go. You may get angry about it, you may bust some stuff up and get mad about it, but you're not gonna actually leave. You may even cheat, but if he's cheating, it really don't matter. And that's something that doesn't enter into this conversation. That's important, because what's important to me is dudes got to stop. I've always said black women these women are not being coerced in the situations that they're in. These women have babies. They don't have babies under duress. They don't do nothing under duress. In fact, a lot of these chicks be strategically planning, doing most of the stuff they do. If a chick had a kid and a nigga light skinned, you know what it's about. If a chick had a kid and a nigga tall, you know what it's about. You know, nobody practices eugenics more than black women when it comes to abortion and shit. Like, let's be very clear about that. And my thing is to call out is the absolute hypocrisy. Height is not ever in the conversation as far as black women's preferences. There is no equivalent. You all will say niggas are colorist with your attitude, with how you act, with your reputation as far as how you look and lack thereof. Black women absolutely believe they shouldn't even have to compete with black men. Yet, black men don't even ever say nothing about you all and your preferences, particularly the height situation. Now, there's a lot of reasons black men don't say that, because black men are going to look goofy. Black men thug it out. That's my point. My point is, if you're 5'8", 5'5", 5'4", 5'3" as a black man, you gotta thug it out. And not only are black women gonna, like, they are allowed to say whatever they want to say, and you just gotta eat that shit. Black men, you don't get empathy from nobody. Nobody, to the point where even dudes in the short don't even talk about it. You just have to completely deal with it or get out the game. Those are your only options. You speak on it. Black people have this natural, the empathy is not there at all. And this is for other races too. But the truth is, and so here's my point. Here's where we start. This part of the conversation gets real good. This is what I would propose. If a black man is under 5'8", black women have no right to say he's a colorist. He's not allowed to be called a colorist. So for example, Kendrick Lamar can't be a colorist. They were talking about Kendrick Lamar is a colorist because he this is what Drake tried to say, because his wife is light skinned. No, you can't call him a colorist. He's under if you're under, really I should say 5'10", to be honest with you. I'll say 5'9". If you're under, fuck that, because all y'all think half the population is 6 foot anyway. If you're under 5'7", you can't say he's a colorist. He just got to do what he got to get what he can get. Now, obviously, Chris Brown wouldn't fall under that category. That if you can't say he don't like his, if he's under 5'10", you can't say he don't like his people. If he's with a white chick, because he doesn't fulfill the height requirements that most black women have. Hispanic, one of the biggest advantages that Hispanic women have over black women is the fact that Hispanic women are more willing to deal with height is not that big of a deal. That alone, because you know, height don't equate to resources. And so when a lot of these chicks talk about what black men are not doing for them, it's like, well, you care about height more than you care about having a dude that's got money or something. I'm not saying you can't want what you want and balance it out. What I'm saying is black women are known for basically letting a lot of shit slide if they like how you look. And so the thing is, this is not about punishing women or shaming women for their preference, but black women cannot have this height preference and then think you're standing on moral high ground when it comes to colorism. You can't get mad that men say colorism is an ugly girl argument, but then, especially with the feminine reputation or lack thereof black women have, and most of that is by black women, by the way. Nobody is pushing studism more than black women. Nobody is pushing for black women to operate outside of their gender role. White women, you know, are doing it too, but more than black women. And yet, with black men, you have to fulfill shit that you can't control. Black men are fat phobic. The word fat phobic shouldn't even exist. Honestly, I shouldn't even say the term. I don't recognize that term as a real term. You can control your weight, but a dude can't control his height. But you have a preference for that, which is fine. But men have a right to have, you can't even want a healthy bitch. They're trying to always tie everything to white supremacy. Women care about height, so black women care about height so much you don't even see black women with a lot of short white dudes. That's how strong that is. You don't see people trying to argue, have these psychological psyop, breakdowns on why black women like tall dudes. It is what it is. You sift through the numbers, you deal with what you sift through the numbers based on what you want, you get it or you don't. And it's so strong. The height shit is so strong in the black community that it literally warps the reality by which black people see shit. Black people, we got the same eyes. Yet if I ask I have literally seen, because what really inspired me to do this video wasn't so much what she said. It was the comments. And in the comments, it wasn't just black women and black men. Every nigga is 6 foot. It was so many niggas talking about, I put in my Discord, so many niggas was talking about they 6'2", 6'4". And a lot of you niggas are liars. A lot of you niggas are not that tall. A lot of you niggas are not. I don't know why y'all lying. If it was more niggas like that, a lot of y'all be playing basketball overseas. A lot of you niggas are not that tall, man. You're not. A lot of you niggas are liars. Enough of y'all don't. It is very few niggas that are that tall. Because if you're that, I'm gonna tell you how I know a lot of you all are lying. Because football coaches be eyeing dudes that are that tall. If you're that tall or you look like you could go that tall, there's literally a system that will recruit you into high school sports or intramural sports. It wasn't a whole bunch of tall motherfuckers, not black people. It was a couple of white people I saw. I ain't gonna front. But it ain't a whole bunch of tall black motherfuckers that ain't playing sports, is not recruited into that shit. It ain't a whole bunch of tall niggas that are above like 6'4", that's 6'4" and up, 6'3" and up, that's just out here. I'm not saying they playing basketball, but ain't put a ball in their hands. Shit. How many streamers you know that's really that tall and shit? So when you get a whole comment section of black men and they all 6'3", 6'4", I know somebody's capping. Yeah, man, I'm 6'4". I'm 6'3". Again, 1 in 1,000. 1 in 1,000 men are 6'4" and up. 1 in 1,000. I'm not talking about play sports professionally. I'm talking about, but real talk, my point is they didn't try it out. I'm not saying they play sports, but they didn't have some tryouts. That's what I'm saying. So you're not hearing what I'm saying. Like, who is lying? If you got a comment section and I can point out 40 dudes that are all saying that they're 6'3", 6'4", 15 of them, at least half of them are lying. They're not that tall. I've seen that. I've seen niggas run that play because in short bitches, if they like you, they'll run with it. I don't know why Heartthrob like, man, well, who's saying this tall? You came in here at the end, towards the end of the video. Okay, Heartthrob, since you got a lot to say, let me ask you this: what percentage of men are 6 foot and up? Because what percentage of men, and don't go look it up, what percentage of men are 6 foot and up? What percentage of men are 6'2" and up? Because I went through this earlier in the video. So you got a lot of shit to say. Let's actually look at what because you actually are a perfect example of one of the dudes I'm talking about. As far as dudes think half the population is 6 foot. Half the male population is 6 foot. Don't take the time, answer. It's very, all you gotta do is put 50, put whatever number, and I'll assume you talk about percentages. I'm not saying to look it up. It's not about looking it up. I'm asking you, what is your opinion? So you typed all that out, you can give me a number. You heard me. What, in your opinion, percentage? I'm asking you based on your anecdotal percentage, what you think it is. Because you're putting a lot of stuff in here I'm wanting to see. It's what do you think it is? What is your best guess? The next thing you put better be a number. Cause and it's not even about you. I'm not even trying to pop off on you, but what I'm saying is, why is it that you're hesitating to give me a number? I'm not about to beat you up over a number. Like, you done typed in 3 comments without giving me a number. I'm curious. Because you talking like you think it is higher than what it is. And that's actually the point. That's actually my point. 40%. Great. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for proving my point. That's cool. That is cool. And by the way, Heartthrob, you're average. No, not even average. I would argue you're in the 75% of black men that think that. So let me say that first. And there is nothing wrong with you thinking that. That is cool. Another question that I had, it ain't no LMAO, because I was actually talking on stream like a year ago, and I did it, and like all the dudes in the comment section were giving out these numbers. And that's cool. This is not, oh man, you're wrong, you're part of the problem. That's not what this is. So thank you. But it's interesting how you hesitated to give it. Now, let me ask you this. How tall are you? I'm 5'5", so I am short. So we're not acting like I'm just gonna say. Now give me your height. And that's the last thing I'm gonna ask of you. It doesn't matter, because here's the thing. Stats in this thing doesn't matter. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because this is perception. People move on perception. They don't move on facts, especially with stuff like this in the dating market. So this is actually an interesting thing to understand. This is not about making people wrong, because people are going to perceive what they perceive. But this is about me letting people know, and Heartthrob, because you don't know, because you came late. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because Chris Brown is getting all these colorism allegations, even though he dated Rihanna. And I'm showing the hypocrisy that black women have, and expanding on how black people and how they perceive height. Because height is, when I say genetic currency, height is generally what I mean when I say that. When I say the currencies, and I'm talking about economic currency, social currency, emotional currency, which is really game. Social currency is status. Economic currency is obviously money. Genetic currency, sexual currency is your ability to fuck. Genetic currency is really like beauty markers, which height is a very, very strong beauty marker. This is kind of currency talk, and how people's perceptions. You're not going to change their perceptions. That's not what I'm here to do. Like, I would never tell a dude that's short to sit there and try to make somebody feel bad, because it's never going to work. It's never going to work. And even if it did work, it wouldn't matter. So that's not what this video is about. No, well, I didn't see it. So that's why I'm asking you. Okay, so you are a perfect example of what I was talking about. That's why I asked that. Dudes did so, for example, so let me give you the facts. You are 4% of the population of men. Because I said men. I didn't say percentage of people. I said what percentage of American men are these numbers. So for you, you are 1 in every 22 people. 1 in every 22 men are 6'2" and up. 1 in every 1,000 men are 6'4" and up. 1 in every 7 men are 6 foot and up. I think that gives, because 1 in every 7 is 14%, 14.5% for 6 foot. And by the way, that's American numbers, where, by the way, Americans are taller. The only people really taller than Americans are like the Nordic countries are generally taller. Even most African countries are not as tall as Americans. People have this thing where all Africans are tall. All Africans are not tall. Africa is not tall across the board. Like as far as 6 foot or like tall. So, but there are some African countries too. So if you look at the world, those numbers become more rare. So when you look at like Koreans, I was looking at a video where Koreans were looking, and by the way, football players are not typically all 6 foot like that, but they're shorter than like basketball players. Baseball players are about as tall as basketball players too. Well, not as tall, but on average, you know, they're taller than football players. My point is, this is a perception, and people move on perceptions. So if people are moving on perceptions, when we have these conversations, like these social conversations, if the men believe that half the population or a third of the population, you said like you've been in these red pill circles for a minute now. You've been a subscriber at least 2 years, and you said that. I've had this conversation more than once, and I'm sure you know you're an intelligent individual. You're a pretty aware guy. So you're an aware guy, and you thought that. It's not about being wrong, because perception is perception. What I'm saying is that what do you think the women think? If you thought that and you consider yourself a pretty aware guy, which is why you brought up the fact there's a lot of goofy people, like uncoordinated tall, I know you're talking about, uncoordinated tall motherfuckers, or motherfuckers that, you know, they're just uncoordinated, like they can't play sports. I'm not saying everybody's tall playing sports, but what I am saying, if you thought that, what do you think the bitches think? And so when I did this, I talked about this, and I actually talked about this in conjunction with another topic. Like, I asked them, what percentage do you think is tall? I mean, damn near everybody in my comment section was saying like 40 plus. You would have been right on, like everybody. And that was like a 200 view count live at that time. I was like, damn, y'all all think it's like that? So yeah, what do you think the bitches think? And so this is what so when people talk about women don't see men they're not attracted to, some people think that's cap. No, that's a real phenomenon. That's a real phenomenon. So when you hear these women bitching, and this is a big reason why black women stay losing, because in black women's mind, if you ain't a hood dude, if you don't fit certain aesthetics as far as they're concerned, you don't exist unless they need something from you. And that's like, I don't think people really understand the psychopathy behind that. I don't think people understand how extremely strong that actually is. I think that's the shit that people just be saying, women just be saying. No. And so in these conversations, so my point is when you hear a lot of these niggas that be guilty, even when you look at a lot of these people that are in these conversations when it comes to the purple pill, almost all of them are like 6 foot and up, and it reinforces that perception. That's fine. Here's the thing, when you hear all this bitching that women are doing or people are doing, understand that that's the perspective by which they're bitching about. There's not enough good men, aka there's not enough men that fit a sexual aesthetic that's got money, that's willing to do what the fuck they want to do. And then people get mad, like with Kendrick Lamar, people try to throw allegations. That's why Kendrick Lamar did that shit with all them fat women looking goofy as hell. All them fat women, them dark-skinned fat women, because he be trying to beat those light-skinned allegations. But at the end of the day, we already know, unless you knew who Kendrick Lamar was, we already know what time that is. Kendrick Lamar is like, hold on, let me see. So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you another question. This isn't a heartthrob, this is everybody. How tall do you think Kendrick Lamar is? No, I didn't know. The point wasn't about you knowing. That wasn't the point. You proved my point, which is because that's the point of not knowing. In fact, I appreciate you saying 40%, because if you'd have said something that's more accurate, I would have knew you looked it up. So I know you didn't look it up and then answer. Because if you would have said like 20%, I would, yeah, you probably looked it up just to be right. The point is, most black men believe what you believe. So this is a black thing. This is not about being wrong. this isn't, oh man, you're wrong. It's really that. Because it is what it is. You perceive what you perceive. Just like if somebody says I perceive most fat, man, black women ain't that, most black women ain't that fat. It's a perception issue. And a lot of people argue based on that. So you mad? I mean, you answered it, but I don't know why you mad. I mean, at the end of the day, like I told you, most black men believe what you believe. And the niggas in the comment section, y'all know because some of y'all said the same shit. My point, this is not about height shaming. The fuck I'm gonna do? That's some loser ass shit. But what I am saying is when people have these conversations, these are the perceptions behind they having the conversation. Like, you gotta think about it too. Black men are taller than most men. Only white men are as tall as us. And we're on average, I think, taller than they are. So you gotta remember, when people are saying men, I'm talking about Hispanics as well. Most Hispanics ain't tall like that. Most Indians ain't tall like that. That was the point in you not knowing what it was, because I wanted you to know what you thought. And the 40% tracks with what everybody thinks. I'm not, this ain't me, oh man, you 40%. Shit, everybody else, no, hell no. It's very few. Like, it's like, for instance, another thing that I've asked people what percentage. I'm gonna ask y'all right now. Some of y'all, if y'all have heard me say this before, don't answer. I got another thing I want y'all to answer. What percentage of the population do you believe is Asian? Anybody that gets it right, I know you either looked it up or I know you've heard me say it before. So you all refrain from answering. What person, just so y'all know, I'm not trying to height shame. This is something I bring up a lot more. I never bring up height because I don't care. Because at the end of the day, it is what it is. Talk about height ain't gonna get me close, it ain't gonna get me pussy, so whatever. But what percentage, and by the way, I'm gonna give you a hint, Indians count as Asian. So what percentage of the population do you believe is Asian? Cortez says Smith. The global population, by the way, the global population, it's 8 billion people on the planet, roughly, give or take. And Indians count as Asian. What Indians in India count as Asian? What percentage? Yeah, global. So anybody want to change their answer, change your answer. But global. Don't look it up. Just put a number in. Put a number in. Don't look it up. It shouldn't take you long to put one or two characters. It's not about being right. It's not about being right. It's about perception. So, Cortez, you want to keep that answer? I'm just saying, this is not about being right. No, it's about 8 billion now. It's about 8 billion. It was 7 billion. I want more people. Some of y'all are looking it up. Y'all are taking too long. Y'all are taking too long. Hurry up. The answer is 60%. That's the answer. The answer is 60%. That's the answer. The answer is, I've looked this up. I've researched this. ChatGPT did research the ChatGPT. The answer is 60%. That's the answer. That's the answer. And here's why. Indians are about 1.45 billion. Chinese are 1.5 billion. Those two populations are 3 billion by itself. 3 out of the 8 billion. Asians have another billion of the other populations. That's what I'm saying. Perception. Because I don't want nobody thinking I'm trying to hype. I don't hype shame. Why the fuck would I do that? In fact, a lot of my friends are fucking sick. When I was in high school, I had quite a few friends that are like 6'4", 6'2", 6'1". But like I said, 60%. Indians are 1.5. to roughly Chinese are 1.5. The Han, which is the main Chinese ethnic group, is about like 1.25 billion people. And just to give you an example, white people are about 16% of the population, but that's counting Arabs. That's counting white adjacent people. White people, like Anglo white people, are probably like white people that are Western European white people, like non like white adjacent, is probably like 8% of the population. Black people, I think, are a lot. I think around 20. And if you count melanated people, because a lot of them dark-skinned Indians would be melanin, even though they wouldn't be African, it's definitely like probably like 1 in 4. But that's what you're dealing with. Hispanics, that's what you're dealing with. You see what I'm saying? Now, your perception is based on America. That's what Cortez's answer was. Which, by the way, it's less than 7% of white people, of Asians in America. But your perception is based on what you see in America, which is perfectly fine. Like, nobody has never gotten said above 40% when I say global and I give them that Indian hint. It is what it is. We move based on our perceptions. And this is something that I've asked a lot more people in real life. Because, you know, nobody's going to get mad about this. This isn't like a triggering answer. This isn't triggering, you know. It's about 1 billion people on Africa. And Africa is really the most growing population. Honestly, well, I ain't gonna say that because people would be like, you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm, well, it's what they want and it's what they can get. Like that's enough. Dumper does a really good job at breaking that down. It's what they want, and it's other traits. Like skin tone is a trait, whether it's light skin or dark skin, because some women have a intent, like it, a lot of these chicks be fucking the rappers that they want to see. So it's other factors, obviously. But my point is, it's not even about what they are picking. The point is, black men have this guilt because of the colorism preference, when in actuality the women are out here putting their preferences, smacking you up and down with their preferences, and then you just supposed to accept that. But if black men got a light skin preference, now all of a sudden we got to go on trial, and we got, no, fuck all of that. As if women don't have preferences. As if dudes that prefer light skinned women ain't go fuck a black chick that look good. Shit, non-black men will fuck a black chick. So it's like that's really what the root of it is. So when Dana Dane was always like, yeah, I like tall guys. What are you talking about? Okay, then let Chris Brown have his light-skinned bitches. Let him have his mixed bitches then. Don't fucking say it, cause see, y'all don't like shit when you can't genetically control that shit. You can't genetically control your skin tone. So y'all on some he's a colorist. He's a bitch, fuck you. All you hoes are on some eugenic shit. If y'all can get away with it, you got bitches that are 4'11", talking about black bitches mainly, that are 4'11", 5'1", talking about I need a 6-foot nigga. Bitch, if you don't sit your ass all the way down. No, I didn't see how they were doing Mario. Put in there what's going on with Mario. The Northeast may, I think the coast may have taller dudes. That may be true. I'm not gonna argue that because I've never thought of that. So I'm not gonna argue that, because then you gotta look at cities too versus like some of the other areas. But I'm not gonna argue that. I don't know. I don't know. So I don't know. Then you got to understand that people tend to move to the seas. That's where the economic opportunities is. So there's that factor. But I would argue, the southern black dudes be big as hell. And the thing is, if you travel around the world and you 6 foot, you definitely gonna stick the fuck out. I've seen that when I travel with my colleagues. You stick the fuck out. You stick out like a basketball player if you like 6'2", 6'3", which is another reason, by the way, why these women don't want niggas traveling. Don't be 6 foot and travel and you ain't completely corny as hell. Don't be that. Shout out to Xanatos Clutch. Xanatos is like 6'2" or 6 foot, I believe. Shit, Fantastic is like 6'5". Yeah, so my point is it's about perception. So when you see all these conversations and these opinions people be having, they be having the shit they be talking like with dudes be like, yeah man, I need, they need a good man. No, they don't want to, if like, please, they love toxic dudes. They love toxic dudes. And the reality is, from a hype perspective, they're willing to, a lot of these chicks to develop all this trauma and shit, they throw pussy at certain dudes with certain traits. And then they try to get you to try to pay for all that trauma. Because for women, having a kid by a nigga or fucking a nigga ain't nothing if they like how he looks. And so when you got these women trying to call Chris Brown a colorist, when these women have their preferences, and it's like men can't have preferences, really you need to say fuck you and have a nice day. Y'all got y'all preferences and y'all are open about that shit. And niggas just eat it. Niggas don't even try to call them out. And women, and first of all, I've always thought the short king shit was like patronizing as hell. Like, if a bitch called me a short king, that's a turn. Bitch, sit your ass down with that stupid shit. For real. And it's not about, what somebody should want. It's about the fact that you're over here shaming black men to the point where that has a cumulative emotional and psychological, and they do it with boys. They were low-key trying to shame Bronny James for dealing with non-black women. It has a cumulative effect on their psychology because niggas are actually feeling like they're doing black women wrong because they like light-skinned bitches because light-skinned bitches actually know how to act. It'd be one thing if black women were like Kelly Rowland, acting how Kelly Rowland act, and then saying that shit. Like, it's one thing if there's a interview thing that's got Kelly Rowland and Cardi B. And there's one thing, if you look at Kelly Rowland and Cardi B is ratchet as hell, Kelly Rowland is sophisticated, feminine as hell. And then you sit here and then you say, well, Cardi B is more feminine because she likes it. Then yeah, you're a fucking colorist. Absolutely. You would be a colorist. You're not beating the allegations. If you can look at, you're not beating those allegations if you say some shit like that. But that ain't what's going on. And we all know that's not what's going on. They know that we know that's not what's going on. So my point is that, even with dudes have these blind spots. Like, I remember I heard John Cannon was talking about, man, I couldn't live if I was short. I mean, shit, how tall is Adrian Broner? How tall is Floyd Mayweather? So my point is that reality is warped. So we're not even arguing on the same basis of reality. That's how crazy it is. It's one thing to say that shit, but I have literally proven that in 2 aspects. I've proven it in a sexual aspect and in a non-sexual aspect with the economics. Why I've asked white people this. I've asked white people more that question on the Asian thing than black, because white people are so obsessed with black people, but Asians are 60% of the population. You would think black people were like 60% of the global population. Asians are 60%. So when I tell you that black men are 60, like, you got to think about it. Even like more melanated Asians or Blasian Asians, much bigger population than you think it is. It's just you looking at what's in the United States. Now it makes more sense why these hoes don't want you to leave. Now that starts to make more sense now, don't it? And like I said, again, it's not beating up Heartthrob. You know, most dudes believe what Heartthrob believes. 40%. Heartthrob is one in every 20 people at 6'2". 2 more inches, he'd be 1 in every 1,000. 40%. And again, it don't matter what the men think, because height don't really matter with men when it comes to, like, you know, what men are doing like that. But what matters is the women. What do you think the women believe? I need all of the women this got followings to ask their people, to ask the women, ladies only. Do not answer if you're men. What percentage of the population do you think is sick? That'd be a great TikTok. That's just a TikTok photo. Ladies only. What percentage of population do you believe is 6 foot and up? Because, and why 6 foot? Because that's what the fuck they always saying. They always saying 6 foot, right? They're always talking about 6 foot. I need a nigga that's 6 foot. So with nothing else, well, obviously he know who he is, why his name is Heartthrob. With nothing else, Heartthrob, if Heartthrob would have tell you I'm a 1 in 20 nigga, I'm not a top 10% nigga. What? I'm a top 5%. Technically, Heartthrob is a top 4% just off of height. Nothing else. Nothing else. They'll say he an arrogant ass nigga, but he wouldn't be lying. Imagine if a nigga that's 6'3" says I'm a 1 in 500 nigga. And here's the thing, if he say I'm 6'3", it's only 1 in 500 niggas is 6'3". What else they gonna say? They not gonna be, well, what about your character? What about your character? And me, I'm clinical about the shit. I don't give a fuck, because everybody has their advantages. That's why when people talk about average, when people talk, they have this thing about average is bad. Yes, you should strive to be the best at everything that you can be at. But there's certain things that are gonna be, should you strive to be average across the board? No. But the reality is there's gonna be everybody ain't good at everything. So you may not have game, but if you 6'3", you just gotta know how to not fuck it up. I've talked about that before. There's a difference between having game, like you a ugly nigga and you can be ugly attractive. This, what some chicks are saying, because you have charisma. And if you 6'3", you just I want to tell you, when she talked to him and she said, hey, what's up? What's up? Like, she ain't even trying to holler. She said, hey, what's up? And he like, hey, ain't even Forrest Gump. It's a turn off. That's why when niggas be talking about game, I'm like, that depends, because everybody don't need the same game. Some dudes just need to know how. Some dudes, like, dude, like because I know some people that's corny like that. I say, nigga, you need to say as few words as possible. You need to, because you need to play the mystery approach. You need to be the mystery man approach. That's it. Cause dude, I talk a lot. Dudes are not supposed to talk a lot anyway. They're not supposed to. So you just need the mystery approach. That's it. That's the game you need to perfect. And then you add as you learn. But see them game niggas ain't saying all of that. And I'm saying for dudes that don't know how to talk, that's not obviously that's not most tall dudes. Because the truth is, a lot of tall dudes are going to have confidence because that confidence is reinforced by their perception and reality. Because how women are, you see what I'm saying? They may get more looks and stuff like that. Just like I've had niggas tell me, oh, that's because you light skinned. I've literally had niggas say that. Niggas that I know get bitches. I'll never forget. It was a nigga at work. His name is Lamont. Lamont is his name. And he's married with a chick from Philly. Cool chick. Even though she whatever. Cool chick. And Lamont ain't tall either. Lamont is like, I don't think about it, like 5'8". He ran through bitches. Dark skin. Ran through bitches. It was time for him to chill. He chilled. Cool dude. I'll never forget. It was something. It was out of character for him to do this too. And I said something. It wouldn't even have to do with bitches, just to be straight up. It was like something with the police thing. And I was like, yeah, man, he let me go. That's because you look white. And I'm like, what? Nigga, what? What? And he does that mystery shit. Even though he actually does have game, but he does that mystery shit. But he just ain't a talker like that. And anyway, but he don't need to do that. But that just my point is these women we know that these chicks be lying because it's what you want and what you're presented with. And a lot of these chicks be capping. But my point is, we allow them to shame us on what we want. We want a feminine chick. Nigga, these bitches shame you for wanting a feminine black chick. You want a bitch that's weak. You want a bitch that'll lay down. No, I want a woman that is not a bitch. I want a woman that she may get mad, but I did something to make her mad. I want a woman that is not insecure all the time. I want a woman that has some emotional fucking control and can keep that Keisha shit under fucking control. That's what the fuck I want. Niggas don't necessarily need a submissive bitch, but they do want a cooperative one. They want a chick that knows how to not act like a bitch. They want a female that's self-aware to when she's tripping. That's not a lot to ask for. And truth be told, by default, you usually get that in these other groups of women, unless they try to act like they're black. None of the, people can get into the trade-offs, but the reality is none of the trade-offs are good enough to have dudes trade quote unquote height for anything. But yes, it's harder for dudes that are taller to build muscle. Black, being black helps, which is why the white boys that are tall be getting fucked up. It's obviously you're viewed more as a threat. So you're in danger more. You're always supposed to, regulate it's always look for you to regulate situations, even if you don't want to do it. I've had that conversation with people. You're a lot more at risk for catching a financially transmitted disease because women are definitely likely to keep the kid if you nut in a chick. So you're definitely a lot more likely to get hit up, catch a kid. All the dudes at BGS's family, most of the dudes at BGS's family is like 6 foot. The way he talks, so you may have a motivational issue because you may be able to get women easier, which doesn't motivate you as much. Sometimes with some dudes, sure. But my point is, the biggest point I want y'all to pull from this video is 2 points. One is the reality of what people think shit is versus what it really is. Niggas are out here walking around like a third of the population is 6 foot. And again, I'm telling you, people think I'm playing. Arthur, I think I was beating him. I know. Literally, when I had this conversation the first time, a year ago, everybody said 50, 60. So I'm like, what? And so I did this video because in the other, what she said, everybody was in the comment section. All the dudes are, I'm 6'4", I'm 6'3", I'm this. And I'm like, I know that's not true. I know all of y'all are not that tall. All of y'all. And honestly, is it really lying? If you're 6'3" and say you 6'4", is it really lying? If you're 6 foot and you say you 6'2", is it really lying? Does it really matter? It really doesn't matter. So that's not even what I'm talking about. But my point is the perception. And so when these women sit there and they bitch about they can't find a man, or men are not trying to holler at them, they're talking about particular traits. Or when they bitch about their situation, this is how, why do you think when these chicks like Sarah Fontenot or Cheyenne Bryant, or all these chicks that talk this shit, where do you think I get what I get from? Like, it's like, bitch, I know what's out here. So if you really want a 6 foot nigga, you want six, like y'all think we be playing when we say 6 foot, 6 figures? Hold on one second. Only 6% of Black American adults right now make $100,000 a year, according to Google. 6%. So that is dropped. So you're not in the top 10% if you make 100. You're in the top 6. 6%. Adults. That's not men. That's adults. Then you got to factor in. A lot of gay dudes make good money because they're not a sexual threat. Then you got to factor. Then on top of that, they're 6 foot. So 6 foot, 6 figures. Then we assuming you actually are sexually attracted to them in some kind of way, because height and how you look don't equate. Then we gotta assume you in shape. Because like Hearthstone said, some of these niggas are uncoordinated. They're not necessarily in shape. Then you gotta understand inflation and how much 6 figures carries no matter where you are in the country. Then you gotta calculate what 6 figures is in the because Hearthstone said it's taller people in the Northeast, but it's more expensive in the Northeast. So that means the Northeast, the cost of living. So 6 figures don't mean shit in LA, in New York, or the Northeast. So when you factor all of that, bitch, you gotta be lying. You have to be lying. Gay black men make money on par with white men. Gay black men are on par with white men as far as economics. Because again, they're not a threat. So they'll be hired because you can check that DEI box or affirmative action box. Hold on one second, I'll be back. Yeah, but people never think about that. They never think about that shit. And appreciate Nate for the $25. If you got another video, definitely let me know another video you want me to jump on. I actually got another video of a dude I haven't been doing. I gotta talk about that future shit. Like I'm gonna do the video like 10 things that 10 predictions in the future. That's how I want to do that video, because I didn't want to just ramble on it and then it not have any value. And so my biggest thing here is to really say you can't shame. And this is why people always say these are ugly girl arguments, because these women are mad because they want dudes that they can't have. But a lot of y'all are not gonna have these dudes. This is how we know the sharing men thing happens. This is how we know that happens. And that's not necessarily just with height. That's with a variety of traits. But that's how we know that happens, because there's not a lot of dudes out here that's hitting these traits. And again, just to break down $100,000. $100,000 a year is $8,300 a month. It is not what you think it is. It is $8,300 a month. That breaks down to like $2,100 a week. And then we got to talk about taxes. Because if you got a job and you're not limiting and you're not cutting, deductions down, because it depends on if you're getting that via employment or if you're getting that out here. Like I get my money via a variety of different sources. So $100,000 for me is worth more than $100,000 somebody makes a job, because a lot of stuff I'm deducting I use in my daily life. Things like my cell phone, things like my, my computer stuff, things that I pay for my computer stuff. even my gas. All of that is deducted. So I'm using this in daily life anyway, and it also serves as a business expense versus somebody that's making a. That's why I've always said if you make $100,000 a year, you should have a network marketing business or a business or affiliate marketing business. Is for nothing else. It gives you the ability to just charge all like your cell phone bill. It's a lot of stuff you get in the deductible category that you can charge as a loss. Even if you don't make no money, you still charge as a loss because you can say you did legitimate business. I'm not talking about on business stuff, but like your cell phone. Obviously, I'm just a nigga with an opinion. I'm not an accountant like, Pocket Watcher JT. Anything I say, you take this as entertainment and you consult an expert on this, whether they work at HR Block or your personal accountant. Nothing I say is valid unless they co-sign it. That being said, your cell phone, let me see. Your cell phone bill, your internet bill, a certain percentage of placing your room or your house for an office, any technology, basically any technology you buy, any vacation that you get, you can justify as a business expense, and you can create it to where it's like a business expense. I'm not saying to go crazy, but if you make if you're not in the lowest, you in a bracket where you about to pay taxes, that alone will cut into that. There's certain activities that you can partake in order to do that, but people don't think about that, and that will pay for itself with any business, even the hours that you put in. But people don't think about that. That's one of the selling points that I sell, because with one of the things, the programs that I do, it's a one-time purchase anyway, and then it's like maybe $25 a month as far as like overhead stuff you need, like email lists and stuff. No, actually, one of the things is actually really $15. It's actually not even that much, because you got to pay $2 for a private email. It's around $2 for the domain per month, even though domain is paid up front. Yeah, and then everything else is just whatever, your cell phone bill and all that, and you can deduct that. And then don't have like a cell phone bill. You got kids, family, people on that. People don't think about that. Health insurance, people don't think about that. But going back to it, my point is, 100,000, 83,000 a year, 83 a month, you got to deduct that in taxes. So when taxes deducted, it's really like 6,500, 62, 6,300, which is really around 1,500 a week that you're getting. And that depends on what your lifestyle is. So what your lifestyle is, do you got kids? Do you got child support? Do you got a bitch you got to maintain? A wife you got to maintain? This is why these bitches, people get mad when these bitches be saying, and then if you're in the Northeast, you know what your rent is. If you're in top 15, 20 major city population, you know what your rent is. You know what your rent is. You know what your gas is. You know what your car bill is. If you got a car, if you pay for a hot ride, you know what this shit is. This stuff adds up. And if you if you're in the top 5 most populated city like Chicago, New York, LA, San Francisco, which is expensive, Miami, and on top of that, you 6 foot. Now you want a 6 foot nigga. Now you want a nigga to give you a lifestyle. That's why dudes don't be tripping over this like that. Because if you can get money, yeah, it's gonna cost you more. And I'm not necessarily talking about tricking, but I mean you'll have to build up things to make up for that. They literally said that economically, this is no cap. This is gonna sound crazy, no cap. It was an article that said, it was like a legit article that said the cost of being under 6 foot is like, it takes $250,000 a year in a woman's mind to make that shit up. In order to make that shit up, that is how they actually, it was like a survey or something that was done. They said being over 6 foot in these chicks' mind is equivalent. It takes you gotta be making 250,000, which is basically like 20,000 a month. 20,000 a month in order to beat out. And by the way, you're in a different tax bracket at that point, because you can't deduct enough, so you are paying taxes in order to beat out 6 foot. That, well, we don't even get started on what these bitches like. That Tylenol is out there and the black women don't like that. As far as bad practices, a lot of these chicks are flagrant with their pregnancies. You know, that Krishan Rock is a perfect situation. Like, that bitch will forever be an ain't shit bitch for pushing her kid through her pussy, her infected womb, when they told her to get a C-section. My mom got a C-section because she didn't want to deal with the pain. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of, so understand that when I say everybody's opinions ain't equal, that's why I'm saying that. Some people think I'm just being an asshole when I say that. No, that's why I'm saying that, because they're not. They're not. They're not equal. Yeah, my bad. But yeah. Okay, so heartthrob is Gen X. Yeah, I'm not trying to come at somebody, but yeah, it was buffering because I was on another app. But that's stuff, but you really got, again, it's not just, you got people, and I'm not saying it's wrong with the perception, but the thing is, when people got these opinions, even when you look at a lot of the purple pill stuff, you know, it's cap. It's cap. And the dudes be capping too, but it's cap. It is absolute cap. Yeah, it was because I was on another app. It is absolute cap. People out here talking about what their prep, like, shit, I prefer tall guys. Hello. Thank you. Yeah, and it's like, that's not the issue. The issue is not Dana Dane preferring tall guys. The issue is you get up here and calling Chris Brown colorist and calling men colorists. This is 2025, man. This is not like this idea. This is a 2025. You know, we know how black women get down. We know all the bull. We done litigated all this bullshit. We have litigated all this bullshit for 10 years, and you still got motherfuckers talking about you don't like black women because you colorist. Are you fucking kidding me? You don't like black women because it ain't got nothing to do with the attitude. It ain't got nothing to do with you fat as hell, fat as fuck. Even Dana Dane had to lose weight. It ain't got nothing to do with that. No. It's that black men just want light-skinned women. No, that's y'all projecting. That's what that shit is. That's y'all projecting. Because again, I say this on my Discord. Like, black women be having, y'all got an obsession with color. That's what that shit is. And y'all niggas are just trying to fuck on something that makes their dick hard. Y'all the ones that's got this massive obsession with color, and then y'all project that shit onto us and tell us we wrong for wanting what the fuck we want. Not even examine, like, black women don't even try to fucking increase their beauty because they think black men don't deserve it. They don't think black men deserve it. And that's really that's a whole nother thing to break down. How black women talk about what they not gonna do the other group of women do. Okay, then that's why you're not getting picked. Because you really on some, we need to take you as, take me as I am. No, fuck all that. Because you ain't taking black men as they are. So, like, real talk, it's like all the bitching that women do It's like amazing. Yeah. And you literally, all this bitching that these women do, they act like they don't do shit. And dude, like, this is something that's never litigated. Yet they want to sit here, oh, you're colorist. I'm like, bitch, you all prefer height. And that's okay. That's okay. Dudes are not bitching about that. They just gotta eat that. Dudes gotta do what they need to do to get what they want and make up for that. Bitch, you gonna have to, let's say black men wear colors. Let's say that is true. You gotta make up for that. But see, the problem is they all anchor everything to blackness. See, in their mind, them preferring height is them preferring strong men. That's just genetics. Versus they always tie what you want to you being anti-black. And that's the bullshit. And even tall niggas need to start saying this. Tall niggas need to really say, anytime a bitch calls you colorist, or they even try to throw that out there, bitch, you ain't trying to fuck no short niggas like that. So what are you talking about? And we don't do a good, I mean, we kind of call it out, but we really don't do a good, like, because people like Media Man, they'll break it down to a certain extent, but even Media Man and them don't like doing that, because when the facts don't fit what they want, they get angry. Again, black women and white men have a lot in common. They get very angry when the facts don't fit their narrative. And they'll get violently angry. They'll get violent. I don't date bitches taller than me. Niggas talk about they'll date, like, I'm not doing that. Why not? Because I don't want to. If you're if you're more than 2 inches taller than me, I'm not dealing with that. And it just is what it is. Yeah, he will talk up the edge. But honestly, Media Man is probably going to start doing a lot of debunking the negative black statistics that white people put out. Because truth be told, that's a way for him. The pro-black angle, if you can find an angle to where you're not, selling yourself out, that's an angle that women will deal with you, but they don't want their narrative debunked. Even in that comment section, it was like, yeah, these short kings talk about they'll take taller women. I don't know who, man. They do you climb trees? Remember, Megan Thee Stallion was dating Tory Lanez. They keep on trying to talk about, like, here's my thing. My thing is, first of all, Tory Lanez ain't even the shortest. Lil Wayne, you don't see them talk about Tory Lanez is taller than Lil Wayne. But you don't see them talk about Lil Wayne like that. My point is that, here's my point. I want you to notice, I'm not even talking necessarily to women, because truth be told, the women don't even bring it up as much. Notice how men will just throw these what do you call it, collateral damage? Like they'll just hit, oh yeah, man, he's short, he's pint size, he's this and that. I'm like it's like, yo, if I say, oh, look at his dark, he's dark. Remember what Tarina She used to say about Crispy? And how Tommy got so angry about that? Oh, you can't talk about that. But you can clown on somebody's height unprovoked. It's one thing if you're provoked. Like, oh, Megan, he's dating this pint-sized little. And it was only black men saying that shit too, by the way, that covered that. It was only black men saying that shit. He looks like as if Tory Lanez ain't in jail right now because the two bitches he was fucking fought. And people love, and now I'm gonna tell you something else I don't like. I don't like how, it's not necessarily something I don't like, but like when people in the comment section over there, they were talking about, yeah, man, you know, height is just something that's brought up online. That's not real. If you don't shut the fuck up, man. If you don't shut, all I gotta ask, what percentage of black men do you think are 6 foot and up? Or men do you think are 6 foot and up in the United States? 50%. Okay. You know what you sound like? You sound like when them Latins we talk about racism isn't real. No, racism isn't real because you accept it. You accept that as the status quo. As for example, there's no political argument about should we have socialism or capitalism or communism. No, capitalism is the standard. Nobody's arguing that. So nobody's thinking about it. Yeah, they'll do that. And the thing is, so when people say, man, that's only on social media. No, just because something isn't talked about in real life, you're not talking about racism in real life like that. Don't act like you move through your daily life talking about white supremacy. Even Child and Fantastic. But Fantastic used to always be quick calling somebody a little fella. It made sense finding out because that's a big nigga. That nigga is like fucking 6'6". So I get why he does it because he noticed it because he's big for real. SWP has talked about it. He's like the only one that kind of will talk about it. And again, I'm not trying to change nothing. What I'm saying is these bitches, all of them are not fucking these dudes because all of it is not enough of these dudes to go around. And so when they bitch, I'm like, if you under 5'8", y'all should be saying nothing. Niggas be like, why do you date white? You don't date black girls? Oh, sure I date black girls. Well, I ain't seen you with a black girl, bitch. I'm 5'5". What is that? You know exactly what that means. You know that should be an O and move on. The conversation's over. Any nigga 5'8" and under, y'all should be saying nothing about who he dating. Because in your mind, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't even matter. It shouldn't even matter. Well, what's the story? Who the shortest nigga you dated? Well, so, like they ain't gonna want to say, because number one, they ain't gonna want to admit it. I mean, Danica Marie, I think her dude is like 5'7", according to what people say. Niggas be like, why do niggas listen to that? The nigga, you know, I don't promote the nigga, but the reality is, she with a black dude, he's FBA, he's 5'7". That kind of, you know, she don't really be talking shit about men like that. Yeah, you know, I see why I do. Looking at how she look, she's definitely good 6 foot nigga if she really wanted it. So you can tell she actually with the nigga. And I'm like, all right, you give her a little bit more rope than you would give somebody else. Six has said yeah, of course, because 6 is 6 foot. 6, the goddess has to compete with bitches shorter than her. They look as good, and a lot of these short bitches want 6 foot niggas. So the 6 foot chicks really are ones to get fucked over. Because if you 6 foot, if you 5'9" and up, the only dude, the tall dudes will want you if they want tall kids, but a lot of black men don't be thinking about that unless they're already in athletics like that. So I always laugh when niggas be talking about, yeah, man, I like them short bitches. Yeah, man. It's like, dude, like a lot of, do you, or is you like to fuck them? Because truth be told, niggas be thinking about that. And that's another thing. A lot of these short bitches be dealing with these tall niggas, wondering why you getting cheated on. And it's really like y'all fun to fuck, but they ain't really trying to have kids with you like that. Cause if they don't have a daughter and they have a son and he's short, they're gonna be mad. But women never take that into consideration. Cause a lot of bitches be hella insecure. Cause in their mind, they're insecure about their own height and they project that on you. It is what it is. But women are forever like shaming men for what we want. Men would prefer to deal with black women, but black women are on this matriarchal kick, and it is what it is. And I just found it was so hypocritical. Not just what she said, but really in the comments, how all these niggas, yeah, I prefer tall guys. She wouldn't even need to mention that if that wasn't something. If height was 6 feet was as common as what she's talking about, she wouldn't even mention that. She mentioned it because it's not common. And I also don't know how tall she is. Because if you a chick and you 5'7" and up, yeah, you gonna probably want to do the 6 foot. That makes sense. And the reality is, what never gets talked about is, and I'm not saying height is the main reason, but if other women, if like Latin women in particular, because white chicks be wanting tall dudes too. They're not as bad as black women, but they're up there. But the thing with white women is, with white women, 6 foot ain't the deal breaker. With white women, they want a dude that's clearly taller than them. Like if they wear 4-inch heels, he's taller than them. Like clearly. But and height is a bonus. Height is a strong bonus. But if you got money, if you're loaded, as white people would say, then that can make up for that. Black women will take a broke nigga. What black women will do is they'll take a broke nigga that's tall, and then what they'll do is they'll try to coerce a nigga that's got paper and subsidizing that bullshit. That's what black women will try to do. Versus white women will secure the bag and then they may cheat. Yeah, I appreciate that. So my point is, I'm clinical about this shit. So these chicks, they like when they talk about all these niggas and all this shit, we know what you're dealing with. You're selecting for certain traits, whether it's height, dreads, whatever. You're selecting for certain traits, and then you all are just ignoring everything, and then you build this trauma up and you expect dudes to clean up after you. Fuck that. Oh, the other thing I was saying too is, Latin women really don't care about height like that. That's low key another, like a lot of Latin women, that's why they like dating black dudes, because of the height thing. On the, like, an Erica Bena type. That's why you can get some of these Latin bitches, did they be low key racist like Erica Bena? Cardi B is like this. Cardi B don't strike me as a bitch that they short niggas. Cardi B likes black dudes in general, but she really likes, height is probably a big part of it too. It's a certain look that she likes, and that's part of the package. Versus if you Dominicans are tall, Dominicans, but Dominicans are taller than Mexicans, but Dominicans ain't tall like that all the time. So Hispanic women across the board, height isn't a big deal. So what happens is, if you looking for dealing with the attractive bitch, and you 5'8", and you not catching that slender, you 5'6" or 5'5", yeah, you gonna probably, that's probably one of the best options. Blasians are a good option as well. Because it depends on how urban minded they are. And so when black women are talking all this shit, the two biggest things against them is, number one, your collective representation is that of a Cleon. You all have a horrible beauty representation. Like, to me, people say, what should be the prototype African-American woman? In my opinion, every African-American woman should look for this as the standard. Kelly Rowland. Attitude and looks, Kelly Rowland. Because you can't say she looks like a white woman. You can't say she's too light. You can't say she has short hair. She can rock short hair, Kelly Rowland. I'm not saying all of y'all are going to be that. Most of y'all are not going to be that. But that's the idea. Kelly Rowland's married. I'm not saying you got to get a nigga she got. But Kelly Rowland, to me, checks all the boxes. Has ass, has titties, not too much. Kelly Rowland. That's the template. To me, so I say, okay, how close are you to Kelly Rowland in attitude and temperament and in looks? That's like for African American FBA women, that's the template. That should be the template. And women like that is who you should be pushing out. Whether it's Normani, who got married, who at least got engaged recently. But nah, y'all not gonna do that. Because y'all too busy trying to compel men to take you as you are. Yeah. And that should tell you everything you need to know. And then you got to look at what type of black men they dealing with. Because Hispanic and white women are like, okay, this is it. These dudes aren't dark skinned. They're dealing with more brown skinned dudes. Especially for Hispanic women, that's not as far as of elite. And so what happens is black women are sitting here, you know, y'all basically force these niggas to date out. But see, that conversation's never been interesting. Like, when they talk about the niggas they talking about, they mainly talk about niggas that are like 5'10" and up. They're not talking about all the other niggas, which is a lot of dudes. Remember, the average is 5'9". That means there's people under that average. My bad with the eating. But my point is, those factors have never been brought into this conversation. That's why I say That's why I came to the conclusion a lot of these people are lying. That's why, you know, I started getting on that. Like, a lot of these arguments, they're lying. They're lying. Like, they're not, it's not even, like, they're lying. They are lying out their ass. The level of cap. So again, you know, people, and they always want to make it like you're mad. Nobody's mad. Like, we got into this conversation not because niggas are mad about heights, because, you know, people want to call Chris Brown a colorist, and y'all always want to throw anti-black allegations on niggas' sexual preferences. And that's bullshit. That is absolute bullshit. To the point where women are doing all this shit. Like I said, women are not helping their collective beauty reputation at the collective level, and they don't even try to improve their attitude. They're out here being bold about what they not about to do for black men. Cool, then don't get mad. Like, if you see what a woman is doing and you're not willing to do, then be like, okay, yeah, just like I said. I know how black men are with body type. And guess what, Tom, whatever the dude's name that plays Spider-Man, he's like Tom Holland is 5'8". And Zendaya is damn near 6 foot. Remember, Tom Cruise is like 5'7". But the point is, we know that a lot of these chicks will Kendrick Lamar is 5'5". How many of y'all knew Kendrick Lamar was 5'5"? Kendrick Lamar is 5'5". Kendrick Lamar is my height. So my point is, when a lot of these women are talking about they're not getting picked or niggas are colorists, they never factor in, number one, who the fuck are you talking about? Because they never factor in the fact that as a group, and even if they say that's not true, it is well known, again, black men, if you're under, you might, like, it's like niggas are not about to sit here and be on the shelf because these chicks are their preferences. You all can't, like, you all don't have to campaign that y'all want a 6 foot nigga. You do this because this is a way of you shading black men every way you can, and then you basically tell, don't apply if you don't do this. Then get mad when niggas are not applying. Why are you not applying? That's the goofy shit. They get mad for niggas not applying. Talk about all these, think about it. When these chicks talk about all these dudes that ain't going to these dating things, how many of them niggas, if they were under 5'10", that they were just, oh, you short, oh, you this, oh, you that. You saw that pop the balloon shit when they all popped that shit. And that dude just showed up. The niggas that have the traits you want, you're gonna have to compete for. That's the world you made. If you don't want to deal with that, then it is what it is. Exactly. So status has a thing, but don't ever let these women try to tell you that's not a factor. And it is the factor. Like, do you understand height is probably worth like 3 red flags? And like what? Yeah, NBA YoungBoy is 5'8", and you see how the women just lose their minds over him. NBA YoungBoy. So status can override height, but status has to be really strong. Streamers have kind of shown you that. So it is what it is. But even still, height, 5'8" is average height. That's not like, oh, you're short. It's just, you're just not tall. If you're 5'8", you're just not tall, but you're not short. So the point is, You know, and even having this conversation, people be like, man, you just mad. Because in there, they can't think past that. And that's crazy, because it's like you expect white people to think past your, like, the racism you're talking about, but you got shit you can't think past. This is, and people be like, well, this is what it's like talking to white people about racism. People not being able to understand this height thing. You got, look, there's white people that think, there are white people that think that black people are 33% of the population. They think black people are a much bigger population than they actually are. NBA, look, man, NBA, look, most rappers are short, but women in their mind, women will raise the height of somebody if they like them a lot. So yeah, in their mind, NBA Youngboy is 6 foot. But NBA Youngboy ain't no athlete. Athlete is no reason to raise his height profile. I've seen that. I've seen motherfuckers tell me I'm 5'8" and argue with me about it. Women argue with me about it. Because in their mind, if they like somebody, he can't be short. It's fascinating. It really is. I remember the first time that ever happened. I was fascinated by that. So again, you know, when we're having these conversations, you gotta understand, people are arguing from different vantage points and different perspectives, and they're arguing, they don't be looking at this. The facts are there not for them to understand. Facts are there for them to validate their narrative, and the facts don't matter if it doesn't validate their narrative. That's why people get mad when they call out facts. So again, a lot of these women, the shit they bitching about, it is straight up cap. These women do not help their femininity profile as a group. They don't in any kind of real way. They literally promote shit to make black women look horrible. Then they turn around and talk about what they're not going to do, and then wonder why they don't get picked. Interesting how that works. So anyway, I'm about to end this video. I'm gonna do like a formal video on this. It'll be a lot more focused. So be looking out for that. I'll be launching Nate's video probably like 3 o'clock, and then I got another video I need to work on too. But you know, let me know what you think in the comments. You know, yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. I may put a pinned comment saying what percentage do you think is 6 foot? That men are 6 foot. But yeah, when you understand the economic element of it and the height element of it, you be like, yeah, these bitches are looking for unicorn niggas. And then you change, like, truth be told, if you're not a certified like set, you shouldn't even be asking for some of this shit. Like, real talk, because that's how few of it is. You just set yourself up. Yeah. So I mean, and people like that, but that just shows you how strong that is. Like that, especially for black women. And black women are like, yeah, like fuck the bus shit. You know what they should have asked Ebony K? They should Iana should have asked Ebony K, what is the minimum height? If a dude is making X amount of money, but he's 5'7". Exactly. And because remember, a lot of these women are supposed to be educated, right? They're supposed to be educated, right? Yet they don't even look this up because it's about how they feel. It's about how they feel. And again, you're making life decisions completely off how you feel. And again, it's to the point where the dudes, like even the dudes don't have the proper perception. And this has been consistent. This is not a new phenomenon. Now, keep By you think these black women are fucking dudes that are 6 foot that are Hispanic, or dudes that are 6 foot that are Indian or Arab? You know that's not true. So again, that's another way they tax black men. But then when black men go get pussy somewhere else, now they act like you betrayed the race. Yeah, we went through all of that, Devon. We went through all of that. Basically, 1 in 7 men are 6 foot and up. 1 in 22 men are 6'2" and up, and 1 in 1,000 are 6'4" and up. So when you ever hear a chick say they want a 6'4" nigga, just know they're lying. Unless that chick is fine as fuck, or unless that chick is dealing with NBA players, just know they're lying. Ask them how many 6'4" people, how many 6'4" bodies have you got? I bet you they'll lie about it, because I bet you it won't be that many. You gotta think about it. If you a nigga and you 6'2", if you a nigga and you 6'2" and up, man, I wish these bitches would talk about, oh, what you about to pay or how much of a date. You bitch, sit your ass down. A lot of these white guys are not that tall. You know it. They're lying. And that's my point. You can't argue if you're just here and you're just be like, yo, I'm just about to lie. Hey, I don't know what to say. They have it. Most of them, it's rare. Like, I won't say most of them have it, because you always got one dude in high school or something like that. So I ain't gonna say they have it, but yeah, they don't be seeing it like they be talking about. They be lying. That shit be aspirational shit. You gotta think about it. Some of these chicks be so short. Some of these chicks be so short that if they bend their neck all the way up and the dude bends his neck all the way down, they can't even reach each other to kiss. Like, if you're 5'2" or 5'3" and the dude is like 6'3", like seriously. So it really be on some. And by the way, if any, I may find the video, but if anybody's on some, you're thinking about this on some, I'm just saying this shit because I'm short. Like, as far as some of the stuff I'm describing, yo, SWP is like 6'6", like 300 pounds muscle. And he's talked about this, how women will just deal with him just off the height thing, and they want to be tossed around and all of that. See, man, I could easily say that's like an R fantasy. Now, see, if I say that, now it's all the time I'm a loser. But you got these women out here talking about, oh, you want to date children and shit like that. So going back to like her shit, she could have her preference. The issue is not a preference. The issue is not a preference. The issue is the hypocrisy. You have no right to have a height preference and then call Chris Brown a colorist when Chris Brown dated Rihanna. I don't think that's that bridge of a deep to go through. You have no moral right or moral authority to say that. That is some goofy ass shit. It really is. Oh, I like him tall. Okay, he like him light, bitch. Deal with it. Deal with it. Chris Brown's a colorist. Y'all, like, black women are big on the eugenics. Not even just height. Like, you fucking serious? And dudes need to start defending that shit hard. Saying, bitch, fuck you. It's the same thing with the age shit. You know, you like them tall, a dude has a right to like them fertile. Shit. The bitch is over 21, I don't want to hear shit. I barely want to hear shit if she over 18. But if the bitch is over 21, man, kiss my ass. Oh, she bitch, that bitch is in graduate school. If you don't shut the fuck up talking to me. Yeah, Cortez. Wait, that's why, I defended Glendon. I I didn't necessarily agree with what because I thought I was just goofy. He put himself, but I did. That's why I kept my foot on the flame with Glenny, because it wasn't about, I fuck with him, but it was the point. It was the point. Like when people, and even ARC was talking about that. We was talking about like the BDSM, like a lot more of these people, like, I don't know about, man, bitch, y'all watch them Zane novels. If y'all don't shut up, y'all read them Zane novels. Y'all don't shut up talking to me. It's cap. You're capping. You're lying. You're lying. Shut up. And I don't even want to hear that conversation, because a lot of these chicks be lying. They be lying. And I'll be like, nah, we not going to lie. If you ain't going to talk about it, then shut up. They be lying. And then they try to get on here and shame. They always try to find an angle to put the blame on you, to point the finger at you. How dare you? And when they be doing you got to remember, women got way more sexual contact on average than men do. Way more. That's why I got that video. A woman's average is not the same as a man's average. Why they think that? Because they're looking at it from a sexual context standpoint. Their crucible is this sexual contact. They can give pussy away to niggas that ain't shit. Or low-level white boys. Yeah, they'll. It's like saying, would you like a drink? Sure. Is it free? Sure. It's the same thing. But what you can't get is a motherfucker to do some shit for you. That's where y'all game come in. And that's where y'all frustration comes in. Anyway, y'all, this is Edward signing off. Peace.